You're now tuned into the True to Success podcast with Coach Dave, where healing meets humor, faith meets fire, and real talk leads to real transformation. Whether you're on your daily grind, stuck in traffic, or just trying to hold it together, this is your reset space. Coach Dave brings soulful stories, honest conversations, and the kind of motivation that doesn't sugarcoat the struggle. It's not about being perfect. It's about being present. So take a deep breath, step into your power, and get ready to grow right here on the True to Success podcast.
Yo, what's good, fam? It's Coach Dave here, and I'm here to help you get your mind right and your soul inspired. This is your time, your place, your space to breathe, reset, and step into your power. Now, let's get into this. I want to welcome you all back to my first inaugural sit-down show. Yes, this is my inaugural, and I'm your host, Coach Dave. And today, we're going to let you hear a conversation that we had that felt like a warm blanket in the middle of an Arctic storm. Now, for those who've never been through an Arctic storm, you're not missing much. You just know that it can get up to 30 to 40 below. Yes, and a warm blanket, it is a lifesaver. But anyhow, I digress. My guest today is the joyful, grounded, therapy slinging powerhouse herself, Briana Rosales. She's a telehealth therapist, a suicide prevention worker. She's also a fitness champ. I'll just call her that because honestly, I feel like she is. Every time I see her doing things, she's always around fitness. And an all-around beautiful soul who joined me this week in person right here in Alaska. And I had my very first face-to-face, like I said to you guys, in this show's history. All right? So this episode is pretty rich. As a matter of fact, we jumped into quite a few different things. Led us into what she called the power of joy and why it's different from happiness. I thought that was pretty deep. She started talking about what joy and happiness was. I didn't know exactly how that was going to come together, but not only did she bring it together, but she showed us why there's differences and what it means to reset mentally and emotionally when life gets a lot heavy. And for those who sometimes want to know what that feels like, or maybe feeling like you might be by yourself on certain situations, Bree is actually going to walk us through that. And then Bree balances out what it is to be a healer and a healer needing healing herself. It's a wonderful story because the thing about it is sometimes we don't always know that, the importance of when you pouring out as far as being somebody to be there for everybody, but yet you also need the healing for yourself. She's also talked about the importance of family. Bree held Mom Dukes down this particular episode. And the importance of family, faith, and fried rice. I just want to say that we talked about how food is also a healer. And then Bree walked us through a story that she gave us about a 24-hour notice of her walking out on faith. Now, here's the thing, guys, I've heard a lot. But that particular story I'm very familiar with because I've actually been through some very similar situations. And then there was this one particular situation, which was last but not least. And it was about being heard, seen, and how love can change someone's life. So I want you guys to, if you've ever felt like you're always the strong one, or if you've always been struggling, to find your own light in the cold, this particular show is for you. So lean in. Lean in, lean in and rock. Okay. But I want this show to bless you like it blessed me. We're going to welcome Briana Rosales today. And as we get to the True to Success podcast, and before we get there, I need you to do me just one favor, just one. There's a button. There's a button. And it says subscribe. Wherever you listening to this, wherever you're watching it, wherever you're listening to it, just hit that button that says subscribe for me. If you do me that favor, then we can share this with a whole lot more people, and you can invite people from all the way around the world. Thank you so much. And guys, let's get into the show. So guess what, y'all? We have a guest here today who brings sunshine to snowstorms. Listen, straight out of Atlanta, but here in the Arctic, Alaska today, she's a telehealth therapist, suicide prevention worker, and one of the most joyful, bubbly spirits I've ever met. She's a friend, always smiling, always ready to help, and always ready to find a way to pour into others whether through a live, a hot plate, or even through a cold brew. Look, I need you guys to welcome to the True Success Podcast most joyful, fierce, the reset queen herself, Briana Rosales. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I would say reset queen, but you know what, Shannon Sharp, you got your people working behind you, bro. But yeah.
Bree, thank you for coming to the show. This is remarkable because I'm having my first inaugural scenario where somebody is actually face to face, in person. And Bree, you have been a great person over my years of knowing you. So thank you for coming to the show.
I appreciate you and the invite, and maybe even just be like, "Nah, I'm coming through, bro."
We've actually come into agreement that we will not be talking about Bree's job. But at the same time, what we do want to talk about is what happens off the job. What happens?
The most important.
That's the most important thing. What happens off the job? Because I want to know what joy looks like. Because you bring a lot of joy to people on a daily. But what happens when off the clock? What does joy look like for you?
I love how you use that word joy, because joy is one of my favorite words in the Bible. I'm going to take it biblical real quick before I take it to where we're at right now.
Go ahead.
Joy is so much more deeper than happiness, and it's something that has to keep you going continuously every day. The joy I seek for me, so funny, is my dog and spending time with my partner and my sister, and talking with my mom, even though she's long distance, just talking with my mom 3 times a day just to bother her. Those are the things that bring me so much life. And my best friends, I don't have a lot of them, but I got a handful of them, and that's all I need. Because I bother them just to hear them breathe. Because those are my people. Those are the people who feel into me as I feel into them, which is part of my joy.
They're calling your mother every day. Tell us more about that relationship that you have.
I'm a mama's girl. Definitely a mama's girl. She's one of my best friends, and as me being a newly engaged person.
Okay.
Work for it though.
Awesome.
But no, definitely. She has been a supporter for any and everything. I just always think about when I left home from Washington State to move to Atlanta by myself, and she was just like on board, and she said the only thing she ever told me, she's like, the only thing, if anything would happen, she's like, you can always move home. And that's been that support there. And been in Atlanta for, it'll be 11 years this year.
Atlanta for 11 years.
Possibly 5 years.
So Bree, you mentioned earlier about healing. Do you think people underestimate healing, those very small things, or those things that are consistent in the moment? Do you think they underestimate it?
They can. I feel they can, and then it could also be a part of their healing as well, to feel like if it's not as prominent for them, to hold them back. And it just also depends on that person. They can continue striving forward and maybe just not deal with it at that time, but maybe it might come up later, or they can deal with, or it could hold them hostage at that time to where they feel that they can't move forward until they deal with that situation.
Well, do you ever, knowing that you're a clinical therapist, when you look at those things, do you ever find a place where you get stressed? It's always a question for me. I want to know if the therapist or the psychologist or the psychiatrist ever just get stressed as hell, and are you cooking food when that stress happens, or what's happening when your stress comes up?
Definitely. I love to go to the sauna. I'm a big workout person. I find different workout competitions that I like to do. So last year I did a half marathon. This year I'm doing the High Roxy championship in November with my partner. I love to cook, have a drink. There's nothing wrong with that. It's all in moderation of what you do. I feel in my.
You say you love to cook. How true is that? I mean, you say you love to cook, because you find people that say they love to cook, but then they just can cook some bean and weenies. I mean, I'm just saying, if you love to cook. So let me ask you this: what's your favorite food to cook when you're stressed or just feeling free?
Before I left home, I was on Asian cuisine. So I made sesame chicken. I made sesame chicken with some homemade vegetable lo mein. And I did some beef and broccoli with some quinoa instead of the rice.
Cooking.
Nice. I went to the Asian store and got all of the freaking sauces. So above the stove is just like a whole section of Asian sauces just dedicated to that.
So you a cook.
I love to.
Amazing, amazing. And you know, you also, since knowing you, you do a lot of different things. And there's a lot of different people that I can, say I'm an impressionist. I love to see people's expressions. So I'm always looking for the expression. And there's one expression that I've always thought about you, and that's always your smile. So how does it feel to have such a beautiful thing? Plus, right. When you walk into a room, did you know that your smile is a secret weapon?
Yes, and no. I'm not gonna be like bragging about my smile and everything, but no, definitely. I think growing up, I've been told like I smile from my heart, and just knowing that part of it is just something that again was God gifted to me. And if that's a way to bring people in, why not? I have nothing but love and joy to happiness to share with people. Even if you're having a bad day, like a smile can just brighten you up. What is it? You can have how many muscles you use more muscles to frown than you use to smile. I want to save money on Botox, so I'm not gonna smile.
It's definitely contagious. Every time I see it, it's definitely contagious. Those who know Bree, you know that basically what she's bringing into the moment, the atmosphere is definitely joy. I've run into people that know you on one side of the spectrum that work with you, or people that you work with, and the people that you work with speaks volumes about you, because you work in some very, let's say, although you work in the Arctic on occasion, you also work in some very cold environments, and mentally, as well as, I'll say cold spaces. Yeah, but you bring a lot of warmth into places like that. But how do you do that? Literally and emotionally.
I feel like emotionally, it's hard. It's really hard. And just having my support from my mother, my sister, my partner. I yearn a lot for my dog, who is like my biggest person. If I were to bring her up here, I think I would be solid. I wouldn't need nobody else.
Okay.
But just know that I can't have her. I keep myself busy. I'm a big workaholic and workout person, which is why I do a lot of like competitions or joggings and things like that, just to keep me focused and to give that goal for when I'm in these isolated, remote areas, and even in these like really cold conditions. And as things continue changing in the world, and even like a work environment with people coming and going, just developing friendly relationships with some of these people. Not everybody, but some of the people.
I got you. I feel you.
Just it's like I can be a isolated person, and I could be okay with isolation. Because I can cook, but then that is like I just need two solid people just to come over and eat my food I cook, because I can't eat all this food by myself.
That's what's up. So that you call not that you call yourself this, but would you consider yourself more an extrovert than an introvert, or you bi?
Bi, like a mo.
Okay, I follow. I got you.
I'm bi like a mofo, because and you can catch me on my day. My mood might be like I could be clinically bipolar, but who knows? But I'm not. But it could be up and down, and especially as a Black woman as well.
Okay.
Where our moods can go up and down.
You spoke about isolation earlier, and it left a moment with me for a second. Where do you think isolation has taught you anything about yourself?
Yes, and I think that's one thing I love about coming to Kotzebue is I get to regain my focus, my concentration on me as a person, me financially, my career wise, where I regain all of that. And what is my next move, or what can I do? What do I need to do better, or what can I eliminate? So yes, definitely. And I'm a big believer of having that time and having those positive, even in this time of isolation, having those positive thoughts of evaluation. It's nothing negative, and also just to be kind to yourself.
For sure. I like you, Bree. That's awesome. You mentioned people needing you earlier. How do you balance that joy, or how do you balance being that joyful person for others when sometimes you need somebody as well?
To balance it out. And I can be honest. I'm that person for my family. I know that I'm that person with what I do. Again, as I come here to like my solitude area, I have that morning time to listen to Sarah telling you earlier.
The Sarah Jakes.
Sorry, girl, if I didn't get your name if you watch this. I'm sorry.
Sarah, we'll make sure that name is.
No disrespect, but you got me. You got me, girl. Yes, I definitely listen to her, like her short, brief ones, but are like 20 to 40 minutes, and it just gets me through my morning. And even though I might be a little negative Nancy later on, but I still hold on to that message that she had in there.
Okay.
But the saying I heard this week was, all you gotta do is pack your bag and have that faith. And whatever God has for you, just go out in faith. And it just makes me reflect on when I moved to Atlanta. I walked on faith. Like I had got accepted to Clark Atlanta for my master's in 2020.
Yes, give it up for Clark Atlanta. Okay.
Yeah, I got accepted in 2013, but I had to defer it because I had to pay on my student loans. So I had to pay on it, get everything right so I can get that financial aid and all. You know how we do sometimes. But it's okay. We got it, and we got our master's in 2 years. We made it do what it do.
For sure. I'm a huge fan of HBCUs. My wife went to a HBCU, FAMU, Clark Atlanta. All right. I did some work for Clark Atlanta when I was there in Atlanta. Yeah. The fact that we actually lived in the same city at the same time is kind of crazy that we end up in the same place up here in Alaska.
It's all God.
Yeah, it's all God. All good. Absolutely. When you mentioned the part about packing your bags, I love that scenario. And I do want to just kind of hone in on it real quick and ask you, because you said all you got to do is pack your bags and have a little faith. When was the last time you can say that you packed your bag in faith, even if it scared you? Thank you, God, that thing just fell. It's way too much. Yeah. When it's oozing all over the table, hell no. You're like...
Last time I packed my bags was in 2020 when I had 24 hours to move here to Kotzebue. I was taking a traveling position to come out here, and I had 24 hours. And again, I consulted with my mom Dukes, and she said the worst they can do is move home.
So you had 24 hours to move to Kotzebue.
To sign my contract, and then I had to still put in my notice from my job and everything. But yeah, that same day I had my interview. 3 hours later, they offered me the job, and then they're like, "You got 24 hours." And so then I was like, you know what? I'm walking out on faith again, and I bought my house. I've been here for 5 years. I'm waiting for my next path of what God has for me.
Did that move? Did that situation and all that? Did it scare you?
It's always scary, but you know what? When I have the support from my mother and my sister, it's nothing like it. And I come from a God-fearing family, and without them, I wouldn't know.
You speak about mom quite a bit, and I want to give a shout out to mom, dude. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You got to shout her out. Real talk, real talk. The thing about it is, so let's just say somebody that's listening to you right now that may be afraid to take that next step. That next step could be huge. And you mentioned earlier, and I'm looking at you because when I see Brie, of course, I see the smile, the joy, the joyful. But I think the one thing that I take from this as well is that sometimes even the joyful need some joy, and where they getting it from. So if somebody listening to this today, what would you tell them that if they're afraid to take that next step? What is it that you would say? Let's say you wanted to talk to a niece, a nephew, or someone.
I just told a friend the other day, I was just like, just send it. Just send it. Just do it. And even if it's very minimal, just say that I love you. It's very simplistic. Even if they don't respond, you have to remember sometimes you shouldn't have expectations from other people. That expectation should come from yourself, from the effort that you put in.
I wish I could snap my fingers. It don't just come through like it. I want to. But
and I also think about what a pastor my sister had taken me and my mom 2 years ago, and a thing that always stuck with me from there was all you have to do is put your shoe on. God will do the rest. If you put that first little effort in, everything else will follow in line for you. You just got to show what you're going to put in.
That's why you my dog. Real talk. That's why you my dog. Real talk. Okay. I got to go into some things real quick before we get into the light stuff. I got to get a little bit more heavy stuff just real quick. Okay. And I want to make sure yeah, please get that water. Thank you. Water is awesome. It's awesome. Had me choking earlier. Yeah. But, so we talked about you bringing some warmth in some cold places. So what connection would you say you have between laughter? Because that's what I see you do quite a bit. You laugh quite a bit. And it's enjoyable to see that type of personality. That type of personality is somewhat of a magnet to people who don't always feel comfortable around people, right? So when I was a kid, my dad would always say, hey, when we go into the store, I need you to go ahead and smile. And he would say that because we lived in a very racial type of scenario where if we had to go into a place, me smiling made them feel more comfortable. But I want to know, what's your connection between your smile, your laughter, and your healing for you? What's the connection? No, I don't believe that.
I cry like a mofo. Like I cry like I watch so many rom-coms. I am definitely a crier, and I have no shame against it because you know what? God gave me tear ducts, and I'm just gonna that's what they're there for.
For sure.
I remember someone telling me that when I was younger. In like my early teens over like my first boyfriend. I thought it was gonna be like my man forever.
Right. I'm sure your fiance is happy that he let you go.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
For sure.
But just thinking of that, like, yeah, you have tear ducts to cry those out, and sometimes the tears are way better than words.
You dropping gems, girl. You damn. I be trying to hold back. You bring it out. You bring it out. There's a ritual that you have to have. Because I don't have a ritual. There's times where being up here in the Arctic, it seems somewhat like a solitude situation, right? There's also the part where you're missing people, you know, and I miss my grandkids quite a bit. And I miss them. Like we talk on a phone. You talk to family back at home on the phone, but then there's a place where you're just realizing that they're away from you. So what is it that helps you to feel grounded when you're going certain things? Have those things been the reason for you being grounded on your journey?
I have to have something for when I leave. I have a planning, and I'm a plan. It's like, and again, you have to know yourself. I'm a planner. So each time when I come to region and right before I leave, I make sure I have somewhere we're going. So when I come, it's like April, I know I leave right before my fiance's birthday, so I'm planning a trip for us. And I'm getting reservations, I'm getting hotels, I'm getting our flights, or if we're driving.
Yes.
Or now I'm planning my family trip with my mom, my brother, who's my cousin, but really my brother, and my sister and his mom. We're going to New Orleans in July. So, you know, New Orleans, I'm in the planning session of getting our Airbnb, and me and my mom and sister are going to fly, or we're going to drive from Atlanta. So it's like I have to have these little goals that make me see the future of things to keep me focused, because that's where my happiness is. To where, again, it could be a control thing, but then also it's just I look forward to see something in the longevity of my time here.
So I think that women in general, especially my wife, she does the exact same thing. When we say that we traveling and doing things together like that, she has it all planned out. We took that trip across the United States 3 times, and trust me, we're that couple. But yeah, I mean, I think there's something that you guys do, and I think that's pretty good. Having those little joys and those goals kind of help you get through the seasons. Would you say it helps you get through the seasons, especially in the Arctic?
Definitely. I plan accordingly to me and my mental health. So I don't come in the darker seasons. I come when it's more lighter. So I know myself, and my supervisor knows as well. So I can't come during those times. And again, I have something planned for each time I come. So I came in February to March. April, we went to the beach. This time, my fiance is meeting me in 2 weeks in Chicago. We're going to do over 24 hours in Chicago.
What's up?
I set up for the August for July with my family, and then September. After September, we have to get ready for our training to go to our workout thing to go to November. It's for Dallas. to go do our competition.
Yes.
So it's like these things like during the summers when I'm here, I have to find something that's more longevity for the fall time to look forward to.
I'm loving it. Thank you. Thank you for that. You give some great advice to people every single day. You mentioned your relationship. You seem very excited when you talk about it. That's pretty good. I mean, because the thing about it is like, okay, yeah, yeah. But every time we talk throughout even our time knowing each other, you've always spoke very highly of the gentleman that's on your arm. Do you think that there's a place where he also makes you feel centered?
Yes, he definitely can. He definitely just like that reassurance and even just talking to me just to make just again of I really feel it's just like not even talk to me, it's the reassurance of just like, hey, I'm here, I'm in your corner. And it doesn't have to be a lot of talking. And which is why like me and my sister are very close because there are times we can stay on the phone for hours and she doesn't have to say anything to me or I don't even have to say anything to her. It's just having that presence of her voice, her breathing, or just talking crash on the phone. And I'm not even listening, but just knowing she's there.
Hey, where's your sister right now? We need a hug. I mean, oh my God, that's so pretty. That's so good.
Isn't that the best life? Well, I make sure she lives her best life.
Okay. Okay. She lives in Atlanta. You guys hang out quite a bit. Have a
out to where she is definitely more family oriented. So she's younger. We're 7 years apart, but she's very now more family oriented.
one last thing. Tell me your daily reset. Tell me your daily reset, especially when you work with so many different things that could possibly be a downer, like a Debbie Downer, like type of situation for you. What is your daily reset? What are we doing to reset ourselves?
That every day, honestly, especially serving the region that we do is very difficult because situations arise at any time and you have to be prompt and you have to be ready. I'm very big on working out daily, but if a situation were to arise at night, I feel like you have to have the support from not just like your people around you, but your management team that you work for. Because if they don't understand what you go through or have experienced it, they can't support you. And being transparent with what you feel and how you feel is the biggest thing. And I can say I truly am serving this environment for 5 years and endured so many different encounters. It varies and it's something that you can never really fully can heal from. I want to say you can heal on the cusp of it, but not completely until you take that time for yourself. You know, I don't have a therapist, and that's something that I'm probably bad at as being, who I am, or even just as we serve as therapists in general. We feel like we go into know it all, but sometimes we don't. And we just have to go back to feeling like we are humans as well as we remind ourselves.
You have to come on again, and you can't be a stranger to it. Oh, we're not clinicians. Well, I'm not a clinician, but I come from a place of healing, wanting people to get whole. In my story is very deep, where I didn't feel whole, didn't feel complete. So I did a lot of soul searching to try to make sure I can make that happen. Do something before we leave today. Y'all, we do this thing on the final segment of our show. It's called the Soul Shots. We ask our guests some quick questions, some real fun stuff. Questions like, reveal, someone about what their backstory is about that, but it's kind of deep, fast and, straight to the heart, straight to the soul. All right. So just for fun, we're going to start off the clock ticking down. So just for fun and inspiration. So Bree, we ask you right now, first question, coffee or tea?
Coffee all day.
How do you like coffee?
Shit, give me 6 shots straight up and we good with some caramel syrup.
Oh, yes. I like French vanilla syrup. I love French vanilla syrup and caramel syrup. Okay. All right, Bree, second question. You ready? Which book do you recommend often?
I am a Michael Baisden lover.
Okay.
So, I can't remember, but
yeah.
He's Black author all day, okay? But he
Love me some Michael Baisden.
He's like Sex in the City, real but black vibes.
Just watch this show all the time.
See, I don't watch this show, but I follow him on Facebook. But all his books I have read when I was in my 20s.
Yeah.
Amazing.
What was one of them? Give me that first one. I don't know if you remember that first one. Something about men cry in the dark or something like that. Yeah, I remember that.
Something like that. I can't remember. Sorry if you watch this too, girl. That shit was so fire.
For sure.
And yeah, and she had a character in the book named her on it. I can't remember. I just remember I was telling my fiance, like, if we ever have kids, with the side tales, like, our dog's gonna be named that name.
Okay.
I am. But it probably goes with like how my dad, he named all his kids with the A and A and the N and shit like that. But you know, we ain't talking about that mofo.
I guess that's the next show. Okay. We gonna have to do another one. Great. Question number 3. The most courageous things you've ever done. The most courageous thing you have ever done.
Man, I want to say, dang, walking out on faith and moving to Atlanta by myself. I had $3,000 in my pocket and I made it happen.
Man, that's amazing. How old were you when you did that?
Yes. So I was about to be 27, my birthday, and that was when I met my best friend. Shout out to Kendall. I love you, sis.
Oh, so that means you just did that 2 years ago. I'm joking.
Oh, I wish. But yeah, and I had filed for bankruptcy like 2 years beforehand.
For sure. Awesome. Okay. All right. Number four. What is your wellness anthem?
Anthem, like song?
Yeah. All right. Yeah. What are you listening to when you want to relax or when you want to unwind?
Okay, sorry. I was thinking like hyped up. To relax? No, you know what? I don't have music that I listen to relax to. But you know, it would all have to go off of my vibe that day. All my music I play, as I was saying earlier, it's like when I work out or if I gotta do something, or even if I'm working. Even when I work from home, like I'm watching Family Ties. Or Family Ties is watching me. Right now,
Michael J.
do you know what I'm watching right now?
No. Oh, love that. Oh my God. With Isaac.
And I love the game. So yes, I'm an old soul. I'm a musical female. Like my movies I download, I'm like 50s, 60s downloaded.
Okay.
My movies. My grandma raised me off of that stuff. And yeah, everything is always based off of my mood. Raised me off of Mary J. Blige and Zayn and just WV, all that stuff. My grandma took me to my first concert. I saw Boys to Men with my grandma.
Show.
Shout out to grandma, rest in heaven, girl.
Absolutely. Last but not least, question number 5. So question number 5 is a phrase or a scripture or something that you somewhat live by.
I guess what my mom always says is, well, there's two. What I said earlier is, you know, all you have to do is put your shoe on because God will take the rest. And then my mom is always thinking of, and I feel that's what I think about when I take that risk, is all you have to do is put your shoe on. And then when I do take that risk is the worst thing you can do is come home, which means the door's always open.
I love this. Really? Sometimes the most deepest things doesn't come from the clinic, but it comes from a cooked meal, a big smile, old school song, someone showing you love in places and that most wouldn't go, you know. But Bree, you're that type of person that's a healer. And I love the kind of healness that you're doing. And we thank you so much for coming through to the True to Success podcast with Coach Dave. Please don't let this be your last time.
Whenever David wants to have me come back again, you know, I gotta ride with me, come back.
Guys, honestly, we've been having a great time. Yeah, pretty crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. But no, I love it. Yeah, the show. But listen, so guys, we had an awesome show. Bree, thank you for coming out today. Yeah, absolutely. And you have an open invitation. Whenever you want to come through, this has been a great show, guys. Whatever you're doing, know that this is because I usually say just Bree. Yeah, just Bree. Yeah. Bree, tell us one more thing. You mentioned the dream to me, and I love to hear people's dream. The thing about dreams are the things that only because I've had so many and I didn't fulfill them, and then those ones I started fulfilling made me feel so great. Tell me about that dream real quick before we go, and I'll somehow put this in the interview because I want to hear that dream one more time, please.
My dream is to have a men's shelter in Atlanta, including veterans. I feel that there's other shelters for women and children, and not discrediting them or excluding them, but just knowing, just giving men opportunities, because I feel that there's so much more that society has put that pressure on them, but they don't have the support there. And as well as I came from a Sikh background before I came to Alaska, and they closed down two of the biggest shelters for them. And so Atlanta has one of the probably top 5 highest homeless population. And I just want to make a difference. And that's all my goal is. I feel like that's my dream that God has put in place for me to do. And I'm going to fight for it. Fingernails and toes, and all.
Awesome. You also spoke about, and I don't want to do too much, but you talked about something that hit me earlier, people being heard. You talked about people being heard. How does it feel to be heard today compared to when you possibly wasn't heard before?
I don't know yet, because it's my first time being heard, Well, it's the difference between being heard and they very open and compared to like just being heard at home with my spouse, which is something that we both continuously work on as a couple, especially, I know in our generation, I want the marriage of we're going to be forever, to where now it's like people get divorced within a year or less than, and they figure out each other. It's like, but no, we're continuously learning that before we say I do, of being heard from one another and how we can both be, I want to say compatible, but supportive and there for one another. And I feel like in other areas of your life, being heard is different. It could be difficult because sometimes people don't want to hear you.
That is true.
People don't want to hear you. And that can be in your workplace. That can even be in your friendships, even in your family. Sometimes they can just be like, oh, they always got something to say. Let's just ignore it. But where I feel that I can make a difference in and just kind of be like, hey, how can we move forward with this? And if they're receptive to it and they're wanting to make that change, let's make that change. If not, I'm not going to fight tooth and nails for something else. If it's not going to make a change there, or even just anything, because I don't want to make my face blue when nothing's going to be different.
That's very important. Do you think that there's a communication? Let's just say let me say what I'm learning. And what I'm learning is this. There are children or babies. You've been around babies, you've been around children, and you know the cry, right? So let's just say that kid was crying and you automatically knew they were hungry. Or that kid was crying and you automatically knew that they were sleepy, or they just woke up, or, basically they want to get out the crib. There's something about the cry. People sometimes get so caught up in the word communication that they don't realize it's not about what you say to me.
It's how you receive it.
It's how I'm receiving it.
And some people don't want to receive, and some people just, again, I don't know. I don't want to know if it's like a power trip or they don't care. And when it comes to all of that, even in general, if I don't care, the power trip and all that other stuff, or just be like, well, I dealt with it, you got to deal with it now. It can all rely back on their own childhood. I'm going to Freud real quick. Freud is like, how was your mom?
Right.
But like how you were treated and how are you received, has an effect.
Absolutely. The receiving part is the strongest part for relationships. So it puts you in that place. Once again, we thank you for coming out to the show. And yeah, this has been a blessing, true blessing. Guys, thank you so much for being with us. And we'll see you next time.
See ya.
Man, listen, so thank you so much, Briana, for coming on to the show. And if this episode reminded you of anything, let it be this. Even the ones who carry joy need to be poured into. Bri gave us the truth today. She let us know that it's okay to pause. It's okay to cry. It's okay to need. Because healing isn't about pretending. It's about permission. Permission to feel. Permission to reset. Permission to chase your dreams, even when they're scary. Whether it's calling your mama just to hear her voice, or planning your next move to stay grounded, going on vacation. It's kind of like Bree said to us, sometimes the most powerful thing that you can do is to put on your shoes. Put your shoes on, man. Right? because that way you can take that first step and let faith meet you the rest of the way. So here's your soul shot for today. Echo me, if you will. This heart is healing, and I give it space to grow. Say it again. This heart is healing, and I give it space to grow. Say it one more time before we go. That this heart is healing, and I give it space to grow. I want you guys to keep breathing, reset, and stepping into your power. And if this spoke to you, if this show spoke to you today, I want you to remember to subscribe, leave a review, and also share it with someone that may be going through some cold places right now. So until next time, stay honest, stay open, stay true to yourself, stay true to your soul, stay true to success. Until next time, this is Coach Dave. We'll see you.
Hey fam, don't forget to subscribe to the True to Success podcast with Coach Dave. We're on all major streaming platforms: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google, Amazon, iHeart, Audible, and YouTube. And if something touched your spirit or you've got a question for Coach Dave, email us at coachdaveshelton@true2mysoul.com. Let's grow together, one truth at a time.